Welcome back to another installment of Best 5. Join us on our journey as we take a look at the weird, wild and wonderful. Today we cover 5 most haunted places in Ireland. Almost every Irish person has been told stories from their grandparents of strange paranormal sightings. Our country is steeped with folklore, myth and mystery. From old legends of Banshees, fairies to the dreaded Pookas, today we take a look at 5 most haunted places in Ireland. Situated in County Wexford, an old mansion named Loftus Hall is a house with a dark and troubled history. It was built in 1350 during the Great Plague known as the Black Death that had swept throughout Europe, killing millions. The story goes that in 1766, a young girl named Annie Tottenham was minding the house with her parents when a strange young man appeared. The man had knocked at the door one night during a rough storm and claimed he had come from a ship that had just docked in the bay not far from the house. It is said that Annie and the young man grew very close to each other. One night at dinner, while playing cards, Annie reached down to pick up a card she had dropped on the floor. When she glanced under the table, she noticed that the man had a hooved foot. As soon as the man realised that Annie had noticed, he suddenly shot up to the ceiling, leaving a gaping hole that can still be seen to this day. For a long time after this encounter, Annie gradually became obsessed and believed the man she had fallen in love with was the devil. Her family gradually became ashamed of her and locked her away in the tapestry room. For years, Annie would sit in the room staring out the window, hoping for the young man to return. It is said that when Annie died, it was impossible to straighten her body as her muscles had seized up, and it was reported that she was buried in the same sitting position in which she died. To this day, Loftus Hall receives visitors from around the world, hoping to catch a glimpse of the troubled Annie, who is said to regularly roam the grounds. The tapestry room where Annie spent most of her time is described by the visitors who dare to step foot inside as a cold and chilling place. In 2011, a tourist took this photo, which many believe to be Annie looking for her long-lost love. Montpelier Hill is over 1,200 feet tall and located in the South Dublin Mountains. On it lies an old hunting lodge that was built in the early 1700s. The lodge was built over an old prehistoric burial ground, and some of the stones from the cairn were used in its construction. It lost its roof during a storm, which many believed was a sign that the spirits were not happy with the disturbance. This site has become infamous over the years among locals, with strange paranormal activities taking place. It is said it is a place of pure evil and terror. The old lodge was called the Hellfire Club and was given its name by a Freemasonic Grandmaster named Richard Parsons, and was used as a meeting place by the club. It is rumoured that the club participated in satanic activity as well as occult practices and demonic manifestations. One old story is that late at night a priest called to the lodge to see what sort of goings-on were taking place there. When he entered the house, he noticed that the centre of attention was a huge black cat. He described the cat as having very pointed ears, almost like horns. It was sitting on an old chair that the group left empty for the devil himself. The priest had immediately sensed evil as the big black cat started snarling at him. It's said that at this moment the priest threw holy water at the cat, which turned into a devil-like figure and ran outside, burning the roof down as it left. This is the reason some people say the roof is still missing today. If you ever build up the courage to visit the club, you might just hear the harrowing screams of a woman who rolled down the hill to her death in a burning barrel during a satanic ritual. In County Monaghan, lying on 1,000 acres of stunning scenery, lies Castle Leslie. Many dignitaries and celebrities have stayed at the castle, and it has seen its fair share of paranormal sightings throughout the years. In the banquet room of the castle, there is apparently the spirit of an old monk who is dressed in black. Many staff at the hotel report that he is not a malevolent spirit and he does not cause much of a disturbance apart from the odd appearance at certain events. However, many guests who stay in a bedroom named the Geraldine Room have reported the presence of a small child who is often heard whimpering at night. The infamous Red Room, also known as Norman's Room, is perhaps the most haunted, as it is here that Norman Leslie, who died during World War I, supposedly resides. The story goes that in 1914, his mother, Lady Marjorie, was awoken in the middle of the night to find his ghost standing by the chest of drawers surrounded by a cloud of light. His spirit was searching through the drawers for a particular letter when his mother asked, "Norman, what are you doing here?" It is then he turned to her and smiled before fading away. Many other strange occurrences have taken place in this castle, as guests report of seeing ghostly grey figures wandering the corridors, as well as haunting bells ringing in the middle of the night. An employee at Castle Leslie reported that when she was in the basement, a terrifying ghostly figure approached her before disappearing. Many paranormal investigators travel here each year to visit the Red Room, and rarely does Norman disappoint. Situated in Dublin City, Kilmainham Jail is the largest unoccupied prison in Ireland today. Built in the 18th century, it is infamous in Irish history due to the fact that 14 rebel leaders were executed here after the Irish Easter Rising. With such bloodshed scarring its history, there is no surprise that this location has seen unexplained paranormal activity. In the early 1960s, a dedicated group of volunteers set out to restore the abandoned prison. One night, the resident caretaker, who happened to be living in the old warden's quarters, looked out across the courtyard to see that the chapel lights had been switched on. He was quite surprised by this, as he had only just turned them off. He made his way across the courtyard where the execution gallows once stood to switch them off again. After returning to his quarters to retire for the night, he looked out the window only to see the lights in the chapel had been turned on yet again. This continued throughout the night and was only the beginning of strange events taking place at the prison. During the restoration, a man was painting in the dungeon area of the prison when suddenly out of nowhere a strong force hurled him across the room and pinned him against the wall. The man managed to battle his way out of the dungeon and ran to safety. Other volunteers discovered the man shaking and trembling, and he refused point blank to ever set foot in the prison again. On another occasion, one volunteer was redecorating the echoing corridor when he heard footsteps climbing the stone stairs and walking along the passage behind him. The petrified man continued hearing footsteps at regular intervals throughout the day. It is said that many school children who visit the jail today become too frightened to set foot inside, and one of the tour guides claimed that there was an evil and frightening force surrounding the chapel balcony. The creator of Game of Thrones probably had a love affair with this. Generally acknowledged as Ireland's most haunted castle, Leith Castle in County Offaly is a place of nightmares and pure evil. Built with solid rock, it was once the stronghold of the O'Carroll clan, and its history is written in blood. The story goes that sometime in the 16th century, O'Carroll of Leith invited members of his clan to a lavish banquet at the castle. It was an extension of friendship to put an end to the inter-clan power struggle that had plagued the O'Carrolls. It was said that many clan members attended gatherings at their own peril. Many of the clan members happily obliged to go to show appreciation to O'Carroll's kind hospitality. As soon as they had sat down to enjoy their feast, O'Carroll proceeded to massacre everyone in attendance. In the chapel above the main hall, it is said that Tig O'Carroll even killed his own brother as he knelt in prayer at the altar. It is because of this incident that it became known as the Bloody Chapel. Anyone outside of the family would be shown little mercy and would often find themselves subjected to gruesome and barbaric treatment. The dungeon was used to torture and kill captive prisoners. The prisoners were pushed down an opening in the floor where a spike would impale them. The ones that didn't die instantly found themselves left to smell the food aromas that arose from the kitchen below as they starved to death. The castle later passed ownership to the Darby family, and the owner, Lady Mildred, often wrote Gothic novels and held seances in the castle. She was well known for dabbling in the black arts, and many feared her. In 1922, after the house on the grounds had been destroyed during the Irish Civil War, 3 cartloads of human bones were removed from the dungeon beneath the castle. Many travellers today passing by on the road at night report seeing a glowing light coming from the bloody chapel window. Visitors to the castle often complain of a feeling of sheer evil in the air. Others have had alarming encounters with a woman who was known as the Red Lady. She is believed to be one of the victims of the O'Carroll legacy, and she has been regularly spotted around the castle. It is said when she appears, she suddenly comes towards her witnesses with her arms waving wildly before disappearing, leaving a frosty chill in her wake. Recent sightings by the owner was of an old ghostly man sitting by the downstairs fireplace. There was many more places we could have added to this list, as Ireland is a place well known for its paranormal activities. As always, if you like our content, then please don't forget to subscribe, like and share this video. Until next time, this is Best 5 signing off.